Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, and good evening everyone. I'm recording this demo project which is part of my final project progress presentation as a test for testing purposes, so I'll be explaining my topic in a few minutes. So the topic that I worked on is deployment and implementation of IT services automation with Ansible, which is an automation tool, and you can automate your configuration and other um, tasks using this tool to install to your clients remotely without doing it manually each and every device. So I think I've already talked before about the introduction and all. This was my content. I'll not waste much of your time, and I'll just go and show you the um, implementation part where I have set up my um, environment. So this is actually my environment, my virtual environment that I have set up in my own PC. I have my own PC which has VMware hypervisor installed on it, that I will do virtualization using VMware. But the system has 12 GB of RAM and 200 GB of storage for this testing purpose, which is more than enough. Then within my VMware, I've installed 5 instances or 5 other virtual machines that I'll be using. Uh, one of the virtual machine is my server virtual machine, and 4 others are my client virtual machines that I'll be working on. My server virtual machine has the Linux CentOS server installed on it, since we're working with Linux, and it has 2 cores of CPU and 2 GB of RAM with 35 GB of hard drive, which is more than sufficient for this experiment. And my clients also has CentOS client version with 2 cores of CPU, 2 GB of RAM, and 35 GB of hard drive. So totally I'll have 4 clients and 1 server to work on it. So I install the Ansible tool on my server side, and I'll manage my clients using this server machine. The good thing about Ansible is that you do not need to install the Ansible for both your client and server in order to work with Ansible. Ansible is a client version only, that we just need to install it in one site, and you can manage the your virtual machines or your hosts or your clients easily without installing your Ansible client version. But other automation tools like Puppet or Chef or some other automation tools, they have this client server version type of architecture, where you need to install the client side to the client machines and the server side to the server machine in order to automate your tasks. So this is a good way of using Ansible, because it is pretty much convenient, and there's a less things to configure on it. So this would be pretty much my whole setup that I've already made in my machine. Okay, before coming to this, I will come to this. The overall Ansible architecture is like this. We have Ansible installed. There's okay, we install Ansible in our management node, which is our server node. Then the Ansible has the host file, which contains, we can add IP addresses and FQDN or fully qualified domain names of our clients to our host file, which is part of Ansible. Ansible also has playbooks and modules which work together. Playbooks are a bunch of, or a number of instructions that we write in order to automate a task. For example, we want to install a service to our client. What we'll do, we'll write those service here using YAML or YMAL scripting language, which also works with Ansible. So we'll write those scripts here in our playbook, and using our modules, it will execute those instructions, and we will push these configurations to our clients using our host file, because our host file has the IP addresses of all our clients here. So this is how the Ansible overall setup works. And also we have an SSH connection between our Ansible server and our clients in order to push these configurations and install to them. So the Ansible in this setup we have created some, you have did some configuration. I'll go through it and I'll tell you what I have done so far. So first of all, you need to launch all your nodes and all your machines, your server and your clients, everyone. Then you need to install Python 3 or later version to your nodes, because most of the packages that we are that we work in Linux environment, they somehow need Python. So we need to have Python. It is better, even though we can do without Python also, but since some packages need Python, so it is better to have Python. For example, in Windows environment, we always, most of the softwares need .NET package in order to have that platform in the Windows. So similarly, we need Python for Linux environment, so it's better to have Python. So we'll install Python first, then we'll install the Ansible software itself. To install the Ansible software, we need to install repositories first. So we'll add the repositories using APAL repository website. So we'll go to the website and we'll check the repository link based on our Python version, based on our Ansible version, and we'll install the repositories using that link, and then we'll install the Ansible engine or Ansible software by itself, which is pretty much easy to install. There's nothing much to do. Then we create our SSH connection. We set up SSH connection for our Ansible to connect to our clients. How we can do SSH connection? There is two ways of creating an SSH connection. One is password authentication, the other is passwordless authentication. The password authentication means that whenever we want to automate or we want to install a configuration or a software from our Ansible to our clients, we need to give username and password every time, which is a lot of work to do. But passwordless authentication means that you will not need to give username and password every time, because in passwordless authentication you will create a pair of keys for them. Using your username and password, you will create pair of keys, and those keys will be one private key and one public key. The keys will be created using RSA algorithm. RSA algorithm, what it does is it creates two pair of keys. One is public key, one is private key. Private key would be with you, and public key, you will copy your public key to each and every client that you have. So whenever you want to connect to that client, you will not need to provide username and password for it, because your public key is there and your client will authenticate you using your public key, and you can connect it easily, and you will also have an encrypted connection, which is pretty much secure in order to push your configuration to your clients. After setting up the SSH connection, we need to set up our host file. There is two host file. One host file is for your entire network that you have, that every server has a host file, which is pretty much normal. Ansible also has its own host file, which is also called an inventory file. So the host file of the Ansible contains all those clients that you want to manage them or you want to work on them. So you need to have the IP addresses or fully qualified domain names of those clients in order to configure them. So we have an host file also. I will show you in a minute, because I have already set up the host file. So this is pretty much I have done so far, and we'll go and check how the system works. I'll just show you my virtual environment. I have, as I told you before, I have my server here. The server is there. Then I have my machines, 1 2 3 4 machines, 1 2 3 4 machines I have, and my server is there. So I'll be working on this. The Ansible is installed on my Ansible server, which has CentOS server, and using this machine I'll be managing my clients. So to work on them, I will not be using this virtual machine, this hypervisor itself. Rather, I'll connect using PuTTY to our machines, so I can show you in a better way. So I'll just minimize this, and I'll connect to these machines using my PuTTY connection. PuTTY is a software that you can use to connect with other machines using SSH connection. So this is a secure way of connecting instead of directly connecting to your system. So I'll just run my PuTTY. I have already set up the connection for my clients. You just need to give your username and password of your client machine, and you can connect it with the IP address of it, of course. So I'll just connect to my machines. I'll go to the third one. This is the fourth one. Okay, so these are my clients, and this is my server. I'm in root. I'm a root user. Okay, so it's good to have a separate user for your Ansible, and you can create a separate user for your Ansible, and you can give root privileges for that in order to do your configurations and all. But you can also use your root user, but root user is not that recommended to use, because root user is something very important, and to keep it secure, we do not need to connect every time with our root user. Rather, we need to create a separate user. But for this, since we are doing a testing type of thing here, it's not a real environment of a company or something. We do not need to create a separate user for it. So if you're in a company working and you need to do automation with Ansible, it's better to have a separate user for it. So let me show you the host file that I mentioned before, my network host file actually. I'll just open my network host file. I'll write vi etc hosts. Vi is a editor that I'm going to use, so I'm going to use this editor in order to open my host file. The host file, normally the host file is inside etc, which is called hosts. I'll just open this. Okay, you can see that I have set up this host file. I'll tell you why I have set up this. Normally when you open this file, this thing is not there. We have only this information, which is your local host information 127.0.0.1, which is the local host that every machine has. But here I have created Ansible lab machines host file. So I'll tell you why. Because if you have a lot of machines in your system, in your infrastructure, you may not remember each and every one by name, sorry, by IP address. Rather, you may give it a FQDN, fully qualified domain name, or a name for it in order to check the connectivity. For example, if you want to ping a system, you do not need to give an IP address, but you can give just a name also. So I have given this is the IP address of my first machine, the first machine, or my server machine, the one I'm logged in now. This is the FQDN server.local, and this is the name for it, a server. This is the second one, which is for my client one. This is the FQDN, and this is the name. So I have pretty much set up everything here like this. So I'll show you an example how we can use this. I'll just save this again. For example, I'll just ping. I'll write client one. I don't need to write the IP address. I may forget the IP address, but I cannot forget the name. So you can see that I can ping easily my client one. The connection is fine with client one. Client two, the connection is fine with client two, and client 3, This is connection is also fine. Client 4, the connection is fine. So I have connectivity with all my clients. Remember, this was my network host file. Similarly, we have a host file, or also called an inventory file, for my Ansible also. So inside Ansible, it has its own file. So I'll just show that also to you. I'll go to etc Ansible. I'll go inside Ansible, and inside Ansible I have file called hosts also. You can give any name to this file, but host is the default name for it. Okay, when you open this host file, you can see that these are extra information. It's already there. We do not need to do any changes to this. We just need to add our machines or our clients IP addresses here, because whenever Ansible whenever we use Ansible to automate the task, Ansible runs the code that we have using and pushes those configurations using these IP addresses that we have in the host file. So what it does, it goes to the host file and checks which IP addresses are available there, and then it runs the file, the configuration to those machines and configure them. We can also create groups here, as we can do with each host file, with every host file. For example, we if these if we have for example these two machines, if they are my web server, I can create a web server group like this. Okay, and if these two machines are my email server, I can write email server. Now whenever I want to install or configure something in my web server, in my codings I can write there to implement all those codings to the web server. So I can just give the name of web server there, and it will do it will configure those configurations to my web servers, and similarly with my email servers also. But if but since we do not have anything like this here for now, we don't need this group to create, so I'll just delete the names. I'll show you how they are used, how and where we can use the group names in a minute in the configuration file. So this is the Ansible inventory file or Ansible host file, that we need to have all our clients information here in order to use them when we want to configure, or when we want to deploy our configurations on our clients. So I'll just save this file. Okay, what else I would like to show you is, okay, I have a file where I have documented all my configurations that I have done so far. I'll just show you that so we do not waste a lot of time. Let me check that. When I was doing the configuration, I just saved all those configurations here so I can show you also. You can see the host file that I've created. This is how we can access our network host file. This is the repository link that we can install Ansible. Yum install will copy the repository link from the website, and this -y means yes. For example, if you have installed a software in Linux, when you try to install, later on it will ask, do you want to continue or not? You will type yes. So here if you type -y at the end, you do not need to type later on, it will do it automatically. So we need to install these packages for installing the Ansible. So in every system we need the packages, so we have a fully functional Ansible system. Using this we can check Ansible version. I'll show you later on. As I have a screenshot here when I was doing it. You can create new, as I told you before, you can create new username for your Ansible. Also, you can give the permission for your username, the root permissions, root privileges. How can you do? You can go to this file. You can type just vsudo. It will open that file, and you just go there and add your admin information, like it's here. There is a root user there already. You just have to add this. For example, if your username is admin, you can add the admin below that, same like with the same information that it has for the root. And also you need to change this file, etc sshd config file. When we are setting up our SSH connection, we need to go and check password authentication. Yes, sometimes it is commented, so we just have to remove the comment and save the file, because we want to have an automatic password authentication rather than a manual authentication. And after we are done with the SSH, we just have to restart it using SSHD, using this command, which is systemctl restart SSHD, because SSH is a service. Once we install it, we need to restart it to activate it. Here I'll show you how you can create the key that I was talking, the public key and private key. You can use SSH keygen, which is a key generation command for SSH, and it will ask few information, but you do not need to fill out those information. You can just press enter, then you will have your SSH keys here. I'll show you here the key that I have created. Okay, I'll just check what I have here, ls-a, to see all files. This is the folder .ssh, so I will go cd.ssh. So I'm inside that file, and then I'll ls. When I ls, you can see that I have two keys here. One is id rsa, the other is id rsa pub. id rsa is my private key, and id rsa pub is the public key. So we just need to copy this public key to all other clients in order to have a passwordless authentication. I've already done this before. How you will do, you will just need to write the command for it. How you'll do, you will just go to that folder which I was showing here. You just have to write ssh-copy-id, and then you give your IP address of your client that you want to copy the file to it, and it will directly copy that file. Then do again for the second client, for the third, and for the however according to your setup, whichever client you have, you just have to give the IP address of the client and copy the file to their environment in order to have this connection. The host file I've already talked about, and once you're done with them, then you have a fully configured Ansible setup and connection. So to check your Ansible, if it is connected with all your clients, you can just check. You can just ping using Ansible all-m ping. I'll show you here. Ansible all-m ping. Sorry, not here. Let me clear this. I'll do Ansible all-m ping. It will check and show the connectivity of our Ansible with all our clients. So here are all the connections are fully successful. It means that my Ansible tool has a very good connection with all my clients using SSH keys. What else I have in this file? I think okay, this is pretty much done here. So this is the Ansible setup which needs to be done. Now I'll go to I'll show you the Ansible playbook, how to write this playbook and what the playbook does. So I'll just open one playbook that I already have it. I'll just go back from this directory, which is SSH. I'll just write cd and enter, and I will ls. Okay, you can see I have playbook file, playbook2.yml, playbook.yml. yml is the format of the file, which is because the file is a yml scripting file, and the playbooks are written in the yml language, so we need to save it as yml. I'll open this file that I've created. What I will do, I'll write vi playbook.yml. I'll open the file. Sorry, I need to open the other file. Okay, I'll just open the other file that I have, because this was the older file, playbook2.yml. okay, this is the script that I have here, this sample example of yml. YML is an indentation language. It means that it uses proper indentation for each line in order to work properly. If you do not have proper indentation for each line, it will not work. If you use tab indentation, it will not work. You need to have a space indentation. So how it works, it starts with 3 dots or 3 dashes, sorry. 1 2 3 dashes are here. You give 3 dashes, and next line you give 1 dash space. From here it will start our playbook. So this is our first play. That's why I was talking about play. What play does is, inside play we have instructions that can be executed, and this configuration, whatever we have here, they will be pushed to our clients using the IP addresses of client from the inventory file or host file. So first playbook, playbooks have different parameters. I have used just few of them here. There is the name. You can give a name for it. Since I'm installing Nginx web server to the clients, so I have just written that Nginx install and start service. Actually, I'm not starting here, I'm just installing, so I'll just delete this start part because I'm just installing it. I'll just delete this part. Okay, Nginx installation. All right, okay. Then the second one, we'll write it below the name. Just we'll write hosts, then colon, then I have written all. Why all? Because I need to install the Nginx to all my clients. I told you about the groups that we can make in the inventory file or in our host file. Here we can name, or we can mention the name of our our groups also. For example, web server, right? If we have groups there, we can name them here, and we can only install this service to our web servers clients, not all clients. Since we didn't have anything else, so we can mention all, and all means to all our service. Become colon true. You can see that it is just right below the host, because the indentation should be same, otherwise it will give error for us. Become true means that when we want to install a configuration or a software to any system, you need root access, or you need system administrator privileges. Similarly, we give this command here, become true. It means that you need to become a root privilege user in order to install this. So this command is needed here, even though I can do without this command because I'm already a root user. But if you're using a normal user with root privileges, you need to write this. So I have already, so in advance I have written here in order to explain to you that why this command should be mentioned here. So become true means you're allowed to have your root privileges in order to install the service on your system. The next, directly below your become, you have the tasks. Now here, till here there was a general information about our playbook or play. Now here inside play we have our tasks. So each play can have multiple tasks to do. I have already added one task here. So the task says that dash space name. What is the name of task? Install Nginx. Now, how do we install a software in a Linux environment? Normally, we use the package manager, command. For example, if it is a if it's a Debian based system, for example, this CentOS is a Debian based system. We use yum and in order to install something. But if it is a non-Debian based system, we use apt-get package manager. For example, if you want to install Nginx here, what I'll do, I'll write yum install Nginx, right? I'll just enter it. I'll see if you can see that it takes a lot of time to install. Here it is. Okay, the system is installed here. In order to remove them, you can just write yum remove Nginx. Okay, this is how we remove also our. Okay, similarly we can do the same thing here. What we'll do, we'll mention the yum command. Now I told you about the modules when I was talking here. We have playbook and modules. So the playbook is those instructions, and modules are these commands that we have here. These are called modules. Using these modules, we can install, we can perform a lot of things. So Ansible has a lot of modules. If you want to know more about modules, you can go to documentation file of Ansible online in the website. So this is how you can write an Ansible script. Okay, one thing else, when you use yum, then you give a name for it. What's the name? Nginx that you want to work on it. Then the next is state equals latest. You can mention present here also. What it means is we need a latest version of Nginx software. So this is the simplest example of a playbook. What we'll do now, we will run this playbook and we'll see if we can install Nginx to our clients, because we already have the connections to all our clients through SSH and Ansible. So we'll save this. In order to run this playbook, what I will do, we'll write Ansible and we'll do playbook2.yml. I hope this can work. Ansible playbook2.yml. I think I have. Let me check. The connection is fine. I think the command was wrong. Let me check history. Let me check which commands. Sorry, Ansible playbook, not Ansible. I'm sorry. We need Ansible playbook, then space, name of your file, which is playbook2.yml. Now we run it. We can see the playbook execution started here. The installation, this is the name that we have given. Then what the task does, it gathers the facts, or the facts, it means that it gathers the informations of the clients, that okay, these clients, we already have it in our inventory or in our host file. Once this is done, then what it will do, it will start installing the software to all our clients. Once it's installed, then the play recap shows that okay, these clients were installed that software or whatever we have automated for it. So now that Nginx software is installed in each and every one of our clients. In order to check, in order to show you, we'll just check. I'll just write nginx. We can see there is some output, and it gives, although it gives a failed error, because this Nginx is a web server, and it needs the port 80, and port 80 is occupied by other service. That's why it is giving a notification. But we know that Nginx is installed with each and every one of them. You can see here also nginx. Okay, let's check if it is truly installed. Let's remove this first. I'll do yum remove nginx. I'll just remove this. I'll say yes. Here also yum nginx, and I'll remove this also. Yum remove nginx. So it's removed now. Now if I write nginx, it says that there is no such file available. There is nothing. You can see it says also there is nothing about nginx. Here also it says there is nothing, and let me clear here nginx. It says that there is nothing about nginx, so we don't have anything. What we'll do, we'll run here again our file. So I'll just Ansible dash playbook space playbook2.yml, which is our file. I'll run it again, and we'll see if it installs properly. It's gathering information. Now it's installing. You can see in a few seconds it installs that software to all our clients. If I have like 50 clients also, it will install like this directly to each and every one of them. Now if I check nginx, you can see that okay, we have that nginx file installed in each and every one of our clients. So this is how it shows. This is called deployment of software to the clients with Ansible, or it is also, we can say that, automation of configuration. For example, you have a configuration, you automatically install it to your clients using Ansible software. This is a good example of that. I hope it is pretty much clear for you guys. What I'll do is, okay, the next thing I will do in my paper, as I told you before, that I will have an evaluation of conventional automation with Ansible. Conventional automation means the normal automation that we do normally without using a tool, which is using shell scripting. You have a shell scripting automation versus systematic automation, which is the Ansible tool. I'll write similar code with shell scripting, and I will run both of them. Then I will evaluate how they work, and what is the resource utilization and all. And I will be evaluating those points using some tools, which is, for example, there is one tool which is called top, and it is used every open source or Linux distribution has it. I'll just write top. If I run top here, you can see that there's many information about. You have your user ID, you have your CPU usage, memory usage, your time, how much time it's taking, the commands are there. Now what I will do, I'll run those commands. I'll run the automation of one task or something using both as a shell scripting and also Ansible, and I'll record the performance of both in here, and I will check which is better and which one performed better, which one has less resource usage and less number of less resource usage, as I can say. The other, and also I will check that the resource utilization, how much the resources utilized using those two ways of automation. There's another tool also which is called uh, dstate. I've already installed it. It's not normally available in the Linux. You need to install it. I've already installed it. So dstat also gives pretty much some information, and it has also some parameters in order to retrieve some information. So I will be using either top or tstat in order to check and evaluate the system performance. Then I will be comparing both system performances, and we'll see which one has more usage, and which one we can use in a small scale networks, and which one we can use in a big scale networks like in clouds. I hope this was a pretty much clear view of what I will going to do, and thank you very much for your time, and have a good day. If there's any question, you can again contact me and ask me for the further presentations. Thank you.